Hello everyone, welcome to the GitSphere, your ultimate orbit for all things Git and GitHub. And in this guide, we are going to be taking you through how to get started with Git and GitHub. And essentially, we will take you through an exciting journey into the world of Git, the version control system that has actually revolutionized the way developers collaborate on projects. So essentially, whether you're a programmer, a designer, or anyone interested in software development, this guide will definitely equip you with the essential knowledge to get started with Git and GitHub. So to get started, what is Git? Simply, Git is a part of the version control systems that we have in place. And first things first, version control system is basically a system that tracks changes to your code over time. Think of it as a time machine that lets you to revisit any version of your code, undo mistakes that have been done effortlessly, and work with a team without stepping on each one's toes within the development life cycle. So basically, that is what Git is in a nutshell. It is like an ultimate coding timeline travel tool that empowers you to experiment fearlessly, knowing that you can always go back to a working version of your software development lifecycle. And essentially, the version control system is a fundamental pillar of the modern software development, enabling teams to work collaboratively and efficiently within the projects. And the version control basically provides a structured approach to managing changes that have been made to the source code, including documents or any other digital assets throughout the development life cycle. And here we're going to be looking at some of the importances of the version control systems within the software development life cycle. And to begin with, the version control systems help us to trace for every change that has been made on a particular project over time, and that is under traceability and accountability. So we can go back in time to see who was the author of the particular change that has been made, what was the purpose of that change, and basically look at most of the changes that were made by a particular author within the software development lifecycle. So that is the aspect of traceability and accountability within the software development lifecycle. We can as well look at collaboration, where it is actually made easy within the software development lifecycle. So you realize that in a collaborative environment, version control acts as a glue that binds teams together, right? So multiple developers can work on the same project simultaneously without actually stepping on each one's toes. So version control systems provide a seamless merging experience of all the changes that has been made by a particular contributor to the repository. Moving along, the version control system provides us with the rollback and recovery measure within the software development lifecycle. In other words, mistakes that have been made within the software development lifecycle can be traced and can be reverted within the software development lifecycle. And essentially, mistakes are inevitable as part of the software development lifecycle. But with version control systems, you have that power to roll back to previous working state, kinda get to know what was made, what was changed earlier on, and it actually works as a safety net, allowing you to recover from errors or any kind of unforeseen issues with some sort of ease. And moving along, the version control systems within software development lifecycle enable us to have that sort of parallel development within the software development lifecycle. And essentially, when it comes to parallel development, developers actually tend to work on their branches individually, and that enables us to fix bugs, work on individual features within the software development lifecycle without interacting with the rest of the colleagues within the software development. And we also have different types of version control systems, but most importantly, the distributed version control system is the one that is currently used by most industries within the software development. And essentially, when it comes to version control systems, we have the centralized version control system, where each and every individual within the development lifecycle gets a chance to work on a particular repository, and the repository is actually centralized within the software development lifecycle. For the distributed version control system, you get a chance to have that capability of working offline. So even if you don't have an internet connection, a developer can continue working on their local repository without an internet connection. So that is one of the key features of the distributed version control systems. You can as well have branching and merging experience within the distributed version control systems. And essentially here we're going to be looking at Git as the core component of the distributed version control systems. Yeah, like I said, the centralized version control system and the distributed version control systems are two different things within the version control systems, right? But essentially here we're going to be looking at the distributed version control systems because they have several abilities and advantages that we can look at. And most importantly, there is some sort of stellar performance when it comes to software development. There is that sort of lightning fast development integrated within the life cycle when you're to come up with a distributed version control system integrated within. And moving along, the key components of the version control systems workflow. We have cloning a repository, pulling changes, and then pushing changes that have been made by a particular contributor of our project. And essentially, when you are to look at key concepts of the Git workflow, we have the repository, which is basically a directory where Git stores files and histories of your project. So you get to create that repository through a GUI or locally on your machine. We also have the branch as one of the concepts of Git that basically has to do with working parallel with the rest of the team members. So it's like a parallel timeline of commits that have been made by a particular contributor within the project. We also have the commit as one of the key concepts of Git, which is basically a snapshot of the changes that have been made to the code at a particular point of time within the software development lifecycle. The collaboration steps to do with the software development lifecycle, we have setting up a GitHub account, creating a new repository, inviting members to your team to collaborate essentially, and I will be taking you through individual steps on how to get started on each and everything. But first, we need to get familiarized with the key concepts before we move into the actual implementation of each and every step that you're seeing here. And moving along, like I said, the best Git workflow when it comes to collaboration with the peers in the software development lifecycle, we have initializing a new project. You go ahead and start a version of your project, like that would be creating a repository, tweaking a few changes so that it is visible with the rest of the team members. You also get to select specific files that may be included within the next commit. So you get to utilize commands like git add, and that will be basically adding all the changes that have been made to some of the specific files within the staging area. You also get to work with a commit. Like I said, it's like a snapshot, rather a record change to the selected files within by attaching with a meaningful message that would be a bit descriptive within the workflow. You also get a chance to push the changes that have been made by a particular colleague within the software development lifecycle, and essentially that gives you a brief overview of what the Git workflow is all about. And not to forget, this has been a brief introduction on how you can get started with Git. The rest of the study modules are going to be consisting of working in the practical environment on how you can get started with GitHub and Git. Yeah, with all that being said, thank you once again for watching this video. Can't wait to see you in the next modules.